Hello everyone, Dan here from DJ Tech Tools. Today we're going to be taking a closer look at 3 different ways you can use EQ isolated effects inside of a DJ mix for creative and interesting results. Now in this video we're going to be looking most specifically at the DJM-900NXS2. It's a brand new unit out. It's got these awesome effects frequency selectors over here on the beat effects section. Makes it really fun and easy to use EQ isolated effects. You don't need one of these in order to do EQ isolated effects. You could use Allen & Heath Zone DB2 or DB4. You could also use RMX 1000 or 500 from Pioneer. Or there's even a way that we've written about over on djtechtools.com that shows you how to do these types of effects in Traktor. All those other ways to apply EQ-based effects are a little bit more challenging. Having these selectors right in front of you and being able to quickly apply an echo or a reverb to a certain EQ frequency is awesome. And that's where we're going to focus on this. So I've got both the DJM-900NXS2 in front of me and the original 900 Nexus. When we're talking about echo-based effects, on this older unit, the workflow that you have to do usually involves turning down either the low end there or using a sound color effect and cranking the filter up so that you remove some of the low end. If you didn't do that, it would sound a little bit like this. Let's jump to a point in this song. Get out of the red. So you'd apply an echo onto this playing track. And you can hear there's a lot of low end that's in the echo. A lot of DJs will do that, drop the EQ, and then filter up. Sounds way better usually. The great thing about the Nexus 2 is that you don't have to remove the low end. You can keep the low end playing through the mix and then instead isolate where you apply the echo to so that you don't even have to lose any of the frequency spectrum. Let's hear what that sounds like. We'll take out the low end there. So you can hear that when I do that, it actually allows the low end, the bass line, the kicks to stay in, and it doesn't apply the echo to it. This is super useful in a mix, and it means that you don't have to be cranking on the filter every time you want to apply a good sounding echo. Let's do it again so you can hear it one more time. In addition to echo, the same principle also applies to the new ping pong effect. That's similar to a ping pong echo that you would get in Ableton Live. You can hear what it sounds like. So it has a little bit more stereo action there. That's pretty cool. And again, being able to apply that to just the mids, the highs, really awesome. It also applies when you're talking about spiral and when you're talking about the new helix effect, which is very similar to spiral. When you're manipulating both the pitch and the speed of the echo at the same time, which is what both those effects do, then you're not applying it to, say, the low end, or maybe there's a lot of highs in there, and instead you're just focusing it on the effect that you want. Let's see if I can find something that sounds good. So up next, we'll take a look at one effect that I always found a little bit annoying and useless on the old 900 Nexus 2, but now that you're able to apply an EQ isolation effect, it's a lot more fun and a lot more usable. I'm talking about phaser. Here's what the phaser sounded like in the past. It's an interesting effect, but ultimately it sounds a little bit cheesy. It sounds like you're underwater. It sounds like there's maybe something wrong with the sound. So instead of using that technique, I found a new way to do it on the Nexus 2 unit that applies it specifically to the low end. And when you have a really cool funky bass line, like this song, then you can actually manipulate it and add some modulation in there that makes it more interesting and playable. The technique here is fairly straightforward. In time with the beat, you're moving to the left on the XY pad, which is increasing the modulation, and you're turning up the level depth so you get a bit more of the depth on that phaser sound. Last and certainly not least is reverb. Now, both of these units actually have a very interesting EQ-based secret hidden inside of their reverb. If you go to the reverb, you can actually see here that there's a built-in filter in the beat effects section. What that means is you're not having to actually use an external filter or EQ what's going into the beat effects. Instead, you can actually filter what the final output of the reverb is. Let's hear what that sounds like. So you can hear we've got some reverb in here. And typically when you're applying reverb, you'll hear people filter just like an echo. I've got this applied just to the highs. Let's put it on everything. But what's cool is you don't need to be touching the filter at all during that. You actually can just be controlling the final output of the reverb with this filter up here. Pretty cool. Now, you don't actually need the 900NXS2 for this. You can actually use it over here on the Nexus 1. It's just a little bit less obvious. So you can see there's a small red line there underneath. And it has the same result. This is also really nice if you just want to throw in a dash of reverb, say on a snare hit or something, because the XY pad actually triggers the reverb effect and turns it on. Of course, EQ isolation effects can be used on this 900NXS2 with pretty much any one of these beat effects to great success. It's really fun, really playable, and it means a whole new world in terms of an effects unit built into a mixer. It's great. For more videos like this about Pioneer effects, artist interviews, and all types of DJ techniques, tips, and tutorials, subscribe right here. Or you can check out a few other cool videos specifically about Pioneer effects, like Ian's video here about white noise, or my video about spiral down here. Stay tuned, and thanks for watching DJ Tech Tools.